Hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I guess I live about half time on this little wooden monk motor cruiser here in Genoa Bay, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie. All the while fixing it up as well for gosh knows what. But in the meantime, I'm having an awful lot of fun with it. Anyway, if that's the sort of thing that you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. Well, as you might have guessed, I'm back up in Genoa this week working on Poem, and that's really great. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going really well. And not only that, I'm getting to row around today in this sweet little 9.5-foot wooden lapstrake dinghy, which is actually Scott Dressler's, my good friend and shipwright, and it's spending the winter in the shed as well to look after it, and it is just such a sweet little boat that rows so well. Are the swans over my shoulder? Hello there. All right then, so let's jump right into carrying on aboard Poem, and that's the finishing up that forward companionway with the steps and stuff. I'm really loving it. Hope you enjoy. And good morning. I'm so excited about getting these back in, but before that, I also want to put the sole back in, and before that, I want to arrange a few more things in the bilge, a big cleanup for starters, and get the battery boxes back in and the batteries and connected up, and a few other things that should be done under there before I carry on too far, although there's going to be lots more to do under there, and the sole will have to come back up at some point, but just got to get those going because we have a step to make after that. Negative. Excellent. Oh, okie dokie. Glad to have that done. Whew. Alright, so I'm going to reuse all the existing lovely double-aught cables that I put up when I first wired this up for Lloyd, but the batteries are somewhat closer together now, so just want to see what kind of an arrangement I can make to use those existing wires. Alright, so pretty straightforward is the bridge, which basically converts two 6-volt batteries into one 12-volt battery, going from the negative of one to the positive of the other. And we'll do that again on the other side here. So that's pretty much a given. So let's see what else we have here. So the idea is to terminate at these two bus bars here on the beam here. And of course I have quite a few options of where I can land, but I'd like to do it as elegantly as possible. So I'm not going to install these just yet, just in case wires dictate that location. Okay, so okay, well, I can't say for a moment I'm thrilled with this. I can see myself adjusting some of these cables later, but they're certainly okay, and all the valves are available. And yeah, let's go get the cover for this. Okay, there we go. Now, you'll note that I have not fused this setup yet, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fuse it. I may do fuses right at the batteries or possibly right in here, but that's yet to be determined. In the meantime, I just need to wire up the bilge pump again and the battery charger, and at least I know the boat is going to sink. Not that this bilge pump goes off very often. Cool. Oh gosh, I am so excited about putting these back in. Let's see how that fits. There we go. Nice and square. Nice and square. I see this is out of alignment. Fix that up. Woohoo! Well, that's just to keep it from moving while I'm working here. I'll put a couple more on the top. Obviously these are bulkheads, therefore they're part of the structure of the boat. So quite a few fasteners in here, and actually lag bolts down the frames and back here to make sure that we add some stiffness at this point. Okay, more screws. I'm having to do quite a bit of rationalization. I think I may have mentioned in a roundabout way that the boat is not really square, and that's okay. You can expect that it wouldn't be too square. The trick is finding a way to make square things within the boat that still fit the boat in an aesthetic way. And trying to line up those two window posts with other things and stuff like that might not have been a really great idea. It's going to be okay, but... Okay, alignment is all sorted. I am super happy with the way it's all holding together. It just took a little twist here and a little twist there, all lined up and screwed in, so it's going to stay put. Now, how about this step? First thing to do is to figure out how the door post, although it may never actually have a door on it, but the post here is going to relate to the nosing of the stair that's going to be here. And that interaction has a lot to do with where the support for it is going to be. It's measurements and ideas and thinking and stuff that's probably not all that entertaining. Okay, so I've got two pieces set to go in here, and I've put a little mark on them at 3/4 of an inch, so I'll know exactly how to line them up with the existing sole. All right, I'm liking this. You can see that I should have done this before I dealt with the whole battery box thing. So I'm going to have to put a couple of toe screws in here in the meantime, but this is going to have to come apart again to be darn. Okay. Alright, with that done, I'm going to cut this by hand because I'd like it to be a little cleaner than what the reciprocating saw would give me. Excellent. Oh, nice and tidy. Okay. So how far down is the step? Well, this isn't hard to calculate because I can just slide the sole over to here, which tells me the height of that side, and down to the sole in the forecastle, which is, it's not the one I'm going to use, but it's the same height. I have 16 3/4 of an inch. So half of that would be 8 3/8. Not a bad step, actually. A little tall, but okay for a boat. 8 3/8 down from here. So I need to build a structure down here somehow that's 8 3/8 lower than this structure. And there's a relatively solid chunk of stuff in here. Basically floors. How ironic. Okay, more thinking. Alright, so the top of this floor that this beam is going to sit on is ever so slightly canted forward. And I don't want to put the plane or anything on that, so I'm going to put a slight bevel on this piece to take account for it. And in time, I will drill some pocket relief here and a long hole for a long carriage bolt. And this will be carriage bolted to this. And it will be, this will stay. However, the actual step that will sit in here will be removable to be able to access the bilge. Yes. Okay, a slight bevel on this, and now this sits in here nice and vertical. Just confirm that with this. Oh yeah, that sits nice. Okay, let's attach this. Poor man's pocket screw. Okay, so the step itself is going to be just another piece of this 3/4 inch mahogany plywood, and it will sit on here and on the edge of the bulkhead after it's cut out. And it's obviously much bigger than the step that's going to land on it, because it's going to be semi-permanent. Of course, it's screwed down in places where it's hidden, but it can be removed very easily to access the bilge. But the actual step part is basically just a 3-sided ring of a nosing of mahogany and some vertical edges of mahogany, which will just sit on that step. So this section, much like the steps aboard Geordie, can just lift out and get quick access to things that go on in here. Okay, so this is a pretty miserable little task. I have to project this plane forward to this bulkhead so that I can cut this bulkhead to support the front edge of this step. So it means basically drawing a line under here all the way along. Now this doesn't have to be that accurate, because there will be probably this piece right here, a ledger attached to this bulkhead to make it extra secure, but I would want to cut it sort of in the right place. There we go. That should be a line right there. Now to project that line to the other side, I'll drill a hole through. Okay, now I have 2 holes on this side, and I can connect the dots. Alright, so if I put a screw back through the hole on this side, and over here, if I take this ledger again and I put it right there, it's 1.5 inches wide. If you remember that my circular saw has 1.5 inches magic number. In other words, if I set up a guide 1.5 inches over, the base plate of the saw will rip exactly 1.5 inches further over. So let's just put this together. Dang, I don't have enough throat on these. Arr! Okay, this is a bit savage, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, let's play this game again. 1.5 inches. Remove the 1.5 inches. Remove the screws. And cross my fingers. Okay. Whoosh. All right, the plumb cut's not going to be much fun, but perhaps we can use a similar technique. If I set my 1.5 inches right here. Woohoo! Oh, my savage cut just nicks it. Okay. Beauty. And here is my step. Now you might say, Peter, it's a little short. But it's not, because I'm going to put a nosing on here in solid mahogany, and I need a splice piece underneath that will glue and screw it from the bottom to make it good and strong. Awesome. Okay then, so this just drops in here like this, and the splice just lands the other side of the plywood, and it should all lock in very, very nice. Okay, so as I said, this will be a nice bull nose around here. There'll be a ledger under here to support the very edge, because when you step on a step, most of your weight is almost always on the very, very edge. So I'm going to use a little piece of mahogany ledger under here. And now I have a landing spot for the door frame, door jamb. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here yet, because I'm not even sure there's going to be a door, because even if you split the door, it's a rather large door, but it is possible. So I have to decide whether or not I'm going to plow out a rabbet for a door. Anyway, let's look into that. Okay, having a lovely big piece of Sabella mahogany here. Okay, so now I need to cut actually in this edge, plow out a dado for the edge of the plywood. And this will be roughly an inch deep. Because I'm cutting the dado in the middle of the piece of wood, as long as I start in the middle, then I can just make wider and wider paths cutting in both directions until my sample piece fits in. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I've run once in each direction, and you can see I'm starting to widen the kerf a little bit, or the dado. So now I just back off the fence a hair each time, run it in both directions, and I know I'm perfectly symmetrical. I'm just going to do the other piece of wood. Nice and snug. Love it. Now, to be fair, that's a pretty miserable way to cut a dado. It certainly makes a heck of a lot of noise and sawdust, but in the absence of having a router bit that's exactly the right size, because it's not ½ inch because it's metric plywood, this is my only solution. Okay then, with the dado for the plywood bulkhead cut, it's time to look at the other side and cut a rabbet out for the door. The door that I think I'm going to put on, no harm if I don't. Anyway, it'll be an inch wide for a 1 inch door and ½ inch deep. So basically, instead of ripping that all out with a bunch of sequential cuts the way I plowed the other side, they'll basically 2 cuts, one ½ inch deep and one 1 inch deep. And 1 inch. Perfect. Okay, so inside, with the door dado facing inward, this is going to sit basically there. Now, there's a couple of things I need to figure out here, one of which at least involves a scribe here. I'm not sure you can see low enough if I point out. It's going to have to be cut in around various structure that's going on here, and that's not too complicated. But what is complicated is that to get this step piece out, I have to lift it up and slide it forward, because the way it latches in, which I'm very happy with. But if this is here and semi-permanent, that won't be possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little key. In other words, I'm going to cut the bottom inch off of this, and it'll just be held in with one screw from this side, and it'll just slide out and allow me to lift this up like that and slide it forward. Now that doesn't seem really elegant, but it's what I'm going to do. Okay, this is getting a bit fiddly, and I know it would. I've cut the little block off the bottom, the thing I'm calling the key. It will sit down here and be removable to let this section come out. Okay, but if I imagine it here as the cross section of the entire door frame, I have to make it past this somehow, and I thought I was just going to trim it out around the structure and the sole, but there'll be almost nothing left of it if I do that. So what I'm going to have to do, and it's not beautiful, is I'm going to have to take a little notch out of the structure here. Now there's plenty there, and I could always put another little knee block on the inside if I was uncomfortable, but that's the way I'm going to deal with that. And then I only have to take this leg off our little chair. And I'm going to use everybody's favorite for this little project. So now I can finally get to the meat of this little project. That's up there. And we're going to trim this here and here. I think it's probably a bit deep, but that won't matter. Goes in there. And when the top goes in, very nice. Woohoo! Holy stress! And through the magic of the internet, the torn jeans are gone. However, it did take till this far along in shooting the episode because that's where we were when I found out there was so much disdain for torn jeans. Anyway, hope you don't mind my ratty work shirt. And it's several days later, we can carry on the starboard side. First, removing the little chunk of this beam. I'll use this as a little marker here. Put the doorpost in place. Top. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay. All right then, time to carry on with the rest of the step. But before that, I want to make sure what we have so far is really secure. So I've made a nice little eased edge little nailer down here. Well, I say nailer, but it's really a screwer. Which I'm going to attach with 2 screws in this direction. But because I'm screwing from hardwood into plywood, it'd be much stronger if I screwed through the plywood into the hardwood. So once it's aligned from this side, I'll take this apart and put them the other way. Okay, let's go. Okie doke. One goes over here. One goes over here. And one goes at the back here. Excellent. All right. Now we just need a nosing piece in solid mahogany at the top. Oh, however, I have just noticed a problem. Maybe you can see it too. The ends of this exceed the door jamb, and that's plywood. Easy enough. I'll just rip or cross cut a piece of this off and put a little end piece in solid mahogany. Maybe ease the edge a little bit. Yeah, this will be fine. This will be fine. Okay, so I just ripped up a couple of little end pieces for this, and I'm going to attach these with a little glue, and much more importantly, my beautiful Cadex 23 gauge pin nailer. This has to be one of my favorite tools. You can hardly believe it's doing anything. If I haven't showed you this before, this is a teeny tiny pin nailer. It shoots stainless steel headless 23 gauge pins. I have them in a bunch of different lengths. This is a Cadex product. I'm not sure this particular gun is still available, but anything in this range is such a beautiful tool. to have. Oh, can't even see the nails. Excellent. Let's go put this in place. And here we go. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, now we have to make some nosing. And it's time to put the rudder table in play. Okay. Okay then, so the two side pieces are a little extra complicated because they need to have a little return against here. So basically there's a couple of cuts to make here, but let's put the miter on the end first because it's pretty straightforward. You ever do this with the saw? You're flipping it over and over, you can never remember which way to... There we go. And how's that fit? Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So we'll just have to take that back out to the rudder table and straighten that out. But in the meantime, let's do our last piece here. Woohoo! Right about there. I've made this a hair long just to be on the safe side. Very nice. Woohoo! And now it's just removing these and removing the main. And let's get this out because I still need to put a bull nose on the front of this. Okay, so first off, these little returns, gotta be careful here because this is gonna want to jump. No blowout. Woohoo! Now, the nosing of the step. Pretty straightforward. It has end grain as well, but if I do it first, it's much less likely to blow out. Okay. Okay, and in it all goes again. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And I'm not quite sure which is which here, so I might have to reverse them. Oh, yes, 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 yes! I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Come see it from here. Just that fantastic. Whoo-wee! Well, hello there and welcome to the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week. I figured if we're out in this beautiful little boat, let's give it a little run and have the beer of the week from here. Okay, the beer this week. Let's see if I run aground. Oh, the swans are there, lovely. The beer this week from Stanley Park Brewery in Stanley Park, Vancouver, British Columbia is their Trailhopper IPA. And I'm really looking forward to this because I've never had it. All right, then. Another fabulous week working on Poem. I'm really enjoying it. The boat is just so sweet, and being so small and so simple, stuff just falls into place. I gotta admit, it's just fantastic. Okay then, it's a little foamy. I might just wait a moment on that, especially seeing as I seem to be about to run ashore. Okay, that's at the point where we can drink it reasonably. Trailhopper from Stanley Park in Vancouver. A perfect West Coast IPA. Just a classic. Really love it. Okay, last week's, although it was only a few days ago's, winner of a Travels with Geordie t-shirt is Jim G. Jim, get a hold of me and we'll make sure you get your Travels with Geordie t-shirt. Congratulations. That's absolutely fantastic. And all you need now is a word of the week. And I just can't resist this boat being so satisfying to row. The word of the week will be satisfying. Cheers. See you on the weekend. Let's do some more satisfying rowing.